What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with the overall markets and why there's a lot more bearish signals right now that could be panning out if certain things happen. So I'm going to talk about why on earth I'm seeing a new setup developing, what you should be watching for as time goes on. Just know that I am not a financial planner. Take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. Deposit $100 and you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Deposit $2,000 and you're guaranteed 30. The offer ends at the end of March. So looking at SPY, technically we have a left shoulder ahead and then a right shoulder. We also have this gap to fill all the way down towards 600. If that fails us, I'm looking for a test very close to our 200 EMA, which may be close to like 696 to 697. 596 to 597. Excuse me, guys. But why do I say this? What's going on so far, and why on earth is the risk more to the downside? So the first thing to remember is that today at 10 o'clock a.m., we have Jerome Powell giving a speech. He's going to be giving a testimony in front of the U.S. Senate. That's going to be the biggest catalyst of the day, at least in terms of our economic data that's coming out, that's scheduled. So that's going to be 30 minutes after the stock market opens today. Jerome Powell is going to be opening his mouth, and we know when this guy speaks, the market likes to move. He's going to be testifying in front of the U.S. Senate. So what's going to happen is he's going to, come on the podium. He's going to give his speech about how things are looking. The same speech he always gives about inflation, interest rates, how everything is going well. But then the senators of the U.S., these politicians, are going to hammer at him. They're going to ask him what's happening with interest rates, what's happening with inflation, what's going on with the economy, what's happening with the tariffs that are going to be imposed, and they're going to play politics. It's going to be kind of messy. So if Jerome Powell says something the market doesn't like, the market could see a dip. Could also be vice versa. He could try to pump things. If he pumps SPY, we have to break like the 608 area for us to validate this head and shoulders that starts to develop. If he doesn't pump things and we can't break 608s, then this is going to be favoring a move to the downside. In all honesty, that's what the chart is going to be favoring. But there's another big catalyst. That's the first one. Jerome Powell will be the first main catalyst that's scheduled. The second catalyst is going to be Donald Trump. What he's about to be saying is going to be very, very huge. Donald Trump has announced 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports already. And he already said that on Tuesday or Wednesday, so today or tomorrow, he's about to be announcing reciprocal tariffs on more countries. He claims most likely he's going to be doing it on either today or tomorrow. So please keep that in mind, guys. If he makes this announcement, it's going to be big. We don't know exactly what the details will be. That's why I want to give you guys a warning. Most likely, I think he's going to be announcing tariffs on the EU. He did kind of mention that like last week, so we'll see about that. So the EU is a possibility. There's India. He's going to be meeting up with the Prime Minister of India soon. Then we also have some Asian countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, Japan, South Korea, and the list goes on. But the EU is most likely going to be included, in my opinion. And then this is the big news. The EU said today that they're going to retaliate immediately if Donald Trump imposes new tariffs. So do you guys see how this war is just continuing to perpetuate? This is getting very tense. If Donald Trump makes the announcement, which he says he's going to make it either today or tomorrow, knowing Trump, he doesn't like to wait on things. So I have a feeling that he's going to make the announcement very soon. This could cause a big move in the stock market, possibly to the downside. Right, when he announced the tariffs on Mexico, China, and Canada, right over here, right, starting on February 1st, SPY went from 610 all the way down to about 590 within a day. The market dumped 20 points in one day. As soon as the news came out that the Canadian and Mexican tariffs were delayed, market started to recover, made a nice full recovery. Then last Friday, Donald Trump announced he's going to be making big announcements about tariffs on countries. SPY went from 608 to about 600, dropped 8 points in minutes, and it started to recover yesterday. But now he's going to be making the announcements. Just the news of him making the announcement about these tariffs, the fact that he wanted to announce it, caused the market to dip. So what's going to happen when he officially imposes them, when he starts saying we're going to actually do this to the EU and etc., might cause some move to the downside. That's looking a bit more favorable to me. Two more things. We have earnings. We have Shopify and Coca-Cola announced their earnings. Later on today, we have Supermicro, Upstart, DoorDash, and Lyft. For Shopify, the share price is down because of the fact that their guidance was not very strong. We saw their earnings quite good. So their earnings were good. We saw about $2.8 billion in revenue, beating expectations. But then for their overall, the overall expectation was not really met when it comes to their guidance, at least for the first quarter. So for the first quarter, they're expecting 25% growth in their revenue. That is below expectations. Wall Street is expecting over 40%. So that's the reason why Shopify is a little bit lackluster. That's why the share price is a little bit down, despite the fact that they had decent earnings. On the other hand, we also have Coca-Cola. Now, they were the opposites, okay? Their overall earnings were pretty good, so. But then what's good is the fact that their guidance is expecting 5 to 6% growth overall. That's their organic growth. That is technically better than what Wall Street is expecting. And that's why the share price of Coca-Cola is in the green as well. So good earnings by them. That's typically what happens, at least when you look at the way things are going for them. And congratulations to them, right? They're doing well. But looking at the markets, I just want to say that, we might not be doing as well. So we'll see about this. Jerome Powell's about to open his mouth. Will SPY break resistance past 608 and start pushing to the new all-time high? Looking a little bit less likely, considering the fact that every time we hit 608 to 610, historically, SPY is rejected hard. Every single time we eventually get a big rejection off 608 to 610. And then secondly, we have confluences. There's a gap to fill down here, down to 600. And then we also have this much larger slanted left shoulder, head, and right shoulder, which may be favoring a move down at least to our 200 EMA to about 597. So keep that in mind, guys. We are favoring downside, at least a 5-point dip on SPY, most likely, maybe even bigger, depending on if Donald Trump makes an announcement or not. So keep that in mind, and we'll see how things end up going. But that's what the odds favor, unless we break 608 to turn bullish. We favor downside. Same thing with the QQQ. We have kind of like a double top here, but just notice that every time we hit 530 to 533, we tend to reject, besides one exception where we went a little higher before we got that rejection anyways. But 530 rejection, 528 rejection. So we have kind of like a double top here. So from the way I see things, this is also looking a little bit weaker like this. If we lose support right here at 524, then you're going to be looking for a move back down off the double top. That could drag us back down towards like 517 or so on the QQQ, depending on the tariffs. If we break 532, this could be trying to bounce. This is favoring downside a little bit more, so just be careful. The Russell's looking a little bit weaker. We need to try to get back above 225. Otherwise, we could be dipping to like 222, then eventually the gap fill for 220. Keep that in mind. ES, notice this range on ES. We have like a channel. Resistance rejected many times. I also noticed that we have a possible left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder on ES, which could be favoring downside very, very soon. We need to break 61.20 to be bullish. If we lose 61 or 60.46, if we lose 60.46, I do expect ES to dip closer to the low 6,000s. There's a head and shoulders here, so it looks a little bit more bearish to me. On NQ, same setup. We're making lower highs right here. Rejection. Every time we've hit like 22,000 or near that, we tend to reject. So this is favoring a move back down to 21,500. Keep that in mind. Bitcoin's dipping here. We need to try to get back up 98,000. Otherwise, we favor 95,000. Nvidia needs to break 133 to push higher. If not, we could be returning to 130 and 128. Tesla, it looks a little lackluster. We have a gap to fill at 345 or below. Might bounce a little bit once we open. It loves to do that. It loves to like bounce and reject. It did that many times. So it might try to retest the low 350s before it continues to dip to 345 or below, but it's going to be lackluster looking at the price action. Apple's fighting at 230. There's a range between 232 and 226. We're going to likely be range bound. But if we lose 226, this will dip more. That depends on the tariffs and factors like that. Let me go over just 4 more. Looking at coin, we got to hold above 282. Otherwise, look at 277 as support. If that fails us, the low 270s are coming. Amazon has to get back above 233. Otherwise, this is going to be favoring 228 or below. Meta could be retesting 710 or below. If that fails us, I'm looking for the low 700s. Microsoft could be retesting 408, and then Google could be retesting 183 if we end up getting a rejection. So anyways, I'm running out of time. That's why I'm trying to be kind of quick right now. Thank you for listening, guys. I'm going to try to upload this video ASAP, and we'll see how things end up going. Thank you for listening. Get ready for Powell's speech at 10 o'clock a.m. and also his testimony. And then be prepared for Donald Trump. He's going to be making these announcements at any given moment, and that could cause a lot of volatility. So get ready, guys. Thank you for listening, and peace out.